Hello, Keith Rucker here at VintageMachinery.org. Guys, today, back to working on the Stoker engine casting, hoping that we're going to be able to move forward on this thing today. This thing has been kicking my tail, trying to get these ways machined down in the bottom of this thing. If you guys been following along, you've seen the struggles and everything else that's going on. I just made a new cutter here, or new tool holder for a planer bit to fit down in the bottom of this. Hopefully we're going to be able to get this job done today. That's the goal. So we're going to just kind of pick up here. We've got to get our tool steel out of here. We got to get a planer grind on there, get it in here and try it out and see what will happen. So let's get in here and get at it and see how it goes today, keeping my fingers crossed. So for the benefit of those that might be watching this that haven't seen the whole series and kind of know what's going on, we're trying to be plane down here in the bottom of this casting, and it's a really difficult problem to get down into. It's deep down in a kind of a hole. There's not a whole lot of clearance anywhere around it. And wanted to use a planer cutter in there to kind of plane the finished cut on the bottom. We tried doing it with just a straight shank in the front, but because of the way the pivot of this thing is this tool catches, it gouges, it digs down into the work. Using this kind of crook neck design kind of gets the cutter on the back side of the stroke so that if it catches back here, the cutter will kind of swing out of the work rather than into the work and not gouge your work and cause damage to the piece. That's in principle what we're doing. So like I said, this has been a really challenging project so far, but we're going to try to get it done today. I've got a piece of high-speed steel that's just kind of in there. It doesn't have a grind on it at all. We're going to pull that out, put a planer grind on there for a flat bottom planing tool, get this thing mounted in here and see if we have any success. That's like I said, we're going to keep our fingers crossed. Let me get this out of here, and I think that was just kind of in there finger tight, so we'll get that cutter out of there and put a new one in it, get it ground. Over at my mare braid belt grinder, we're going to go ahead and start working on this cutter. So I've already got a little bit of an angle on the bottom, but I want to clean that up and probably put just a little bit more of a taper in there. So let's start with that. This belt grinder makes pretty quick work out of this grinding tool steel. I got a coarse belt on here right now. And it'll remove some metal in a hurry. All right, I got it all the way up to the edge. I'm just going to kind of roll that back corner around. There we go. All right, so next thing I want to do, let me think about this. I want to kind of skew the front of that cutter. I'll show you what I'm going for here. This is a planing cutter that I ground a while back. It's a little bit too wide for that particular tool holder. But if you look, it kind of skews down on the front a little bit and also goes back a little bit larger rake going in here. So I want to kind of do that on this cutter. We'll kind of come in here and hold this at an angle so that it will cut that little bit of an angle on it that way, and also kind of go back into it so that we get a bit better rake. So I want it to kind of, let's see, kind of come back, you know, kind of like this, but also on the front, kind of go down like that. So that's kind of what I'm after. Let's see if I can grind that in there. I changed belts, and I went to one with a little bit finer grit on it. Get that belt running over on this edge just a little bit closer. And this is just going to take some of the, get that a little bit finer polished in there, whatever you want to call it. It's not as coarse. Grind marks in it. Finer belt does not remove metal as quick, but you get a better finish on it. And that's what I'm going for here is the finish. And I got that pretty much all the way down to the edge there. Let me get the bottom here. Put a little bit of a radius on the end there. All right. That's pretty well formed. I think what I'm going to do now is just go over to my diamond lap, and I'm just going to polish those out on it, get it a little bit sharper hopefully, and we'll be ready to put that in. All right, there we go. I've got that polished out pretty good. We're going to go put this in the planer and take her for a test spin. I've got my stroke going where that cutter's just barely clearing the edge. You can see we're almost crashing into the front of this thing. Just clearances on this thing is just a bear all the way around, but I think we're all right there. I'm going to go ahead and very lightly engage that cutter and just see what happens. Get an indicator where I can see what I'm feeding down. All right, there we are. We're making a little bit of a planing cut. Just catching that front edge. Seems to be doing fine. And that's cleaning that surface up pretty nice too. I think this is going to work. I'm going to raise my cutter up. I'm going to bring it over. Kind of the edge here. Ooh. This radius right here is going to give me a trouble. I'm not going to be able to get all the way over there. I'm like right up on it right now. All right. I'm almost hitting right here in the front. I think what I'm going to have to do is stop and kind of round over this cutter in here so that I can get it all the way up into that corner, because right now I just don't have clearance. So I'm going to stop and probably just take the angle grinder and do a little grinding with my cutter and hopefully get that straightened out. But I think this is going to work. We're just going to have to make some modifications. All right. So here's the deal. As I move this tool over, again, we've only got maybe 1/4 of an inch of clearance right here, but when it gets up in this corner, we got this large radius up here. So as the tool comes over, it's starting to want to make a contact right here, and I'm not quite up against the shoulder. So I think what I'm going to do is just kind of come in here and just take an angle grinder and just kind of radius this edge right here, kind of feather it around. I may have to take the cutter out to do that, but if I do that, I'm probably just going to do it on both sides. I think we'll be all right. I need to kind of figure out about what height I need it to be radiused in, and make that modification to the tool, and we're going to come back and try this again. But I mean, it looks like it's going to work. The other thing I may want to do before I start planing is clean this bottom up again, because of where we gouged right here before. I'm going to have to get down below that. I think I'd rather do that with my regular planing tool than with this, or my regular cutting tool rather than with this planing tool. So I'm going to do that and, like I said, modify my cutter, and then we're going to come back and try this planing again. But I think it's going to work. I think it's going to work. Well, guys, I have put my other cutter back in here, and we're just going to try to cut down a little bit, get down below those areas where we dug in. It's not too deep. It's just going to take a couple passes. I'm just doing a real rough cut right now, just trying to get down below that. And once we get that cleaned back up, I'll change my tool out again, put the planing cutter in there, and we'll try to clean that bottom up like it needs to be. So give me a few minutes here to get this cleaned up, and we'll be back. Well, I had to take 2 passes, pretty coarse passes, just going across there. I had to take about a total of about 25 thousandths extra depth to clean up those little divot marks in there, unfortunately, that we had to take out, but we got them cleaned up. Right now, I slowed my feed rate way down, and I just fed down a couple of thousandths. I'm just kind of doing a cleanup pass to get a little bit smoother pass in that bottom before we come in with the planer tool. Once I get this side done, I'll have to put another cutter in to go up to the side on the other side and get it cleaned up, and then we can try planing again. But we're making good progress. We're getting there real quick. Let's I get this finished out, and we'll be back and see how the planing goes. All right, just giving you a little peek here. We got the bottom planed out again. It's still rough, but it's, you know, we're ready to put that planing tool in there, the actual flat bottom planing tool rather than this cone-shaped tool here. And we're gonna see if we can flatten that thing out. So yeah, I got my little dings out down here where we had gouged in before. We're gonna change tools out. We're gonna try it again, and keep my fingers crossed. Based on what we were playing with a while ago, I think it's gonna work. So let me get my tools set up here, and we'll give her a try. All right, guys, I think we got our stroke length set. We got our cutter back in here. I think we're going to try this thing out here in just a second. I've got real tight up here on the front. It scares me every time it comes up, but so far using this machine, it's stopping very consistently, so we're going to go with it. So tell you what, let's do. I'm going to start by, so I need to bring my cutter over to the edge. I want to get it right up against the edge as much close as I can. I don't want to be scraping it, directly scraping it, but I want to get real close to it. So I'm just moving real slow here. Now I'm going to lower my cutter down just a little bit. So I just barely start cutting. I got it now where it's just making a very light cut. Just moving over just a little bit each pass. So far, so good. And it appears to be leaving a fairly smooth finish. I'm not down completely below the surface of all the roughness, but we are taking metal off. I think we're just going to let that walk across. I backed off my my cut just a little bit. It was cutting fine, but I was just getting concerned. I want to keep these cuts real light. So I did lighten it up a little bit, and it's probably moving over, I don't know, maybe 100 thousandths per pass. I can see a little line in there, which is normally on a planing cut. I'm gonna let this plane all the way across, and we'll come back and make another pass. I will note too, guys, on the clapper box, I've actually got it locked down where it's not moving at all. And the reason is when we move the pivot point back, when the clapper arm comes forward, it's actually digging down into the metal, potentially. And because things are just so tight up in the front, I don't have room to swing it out of the way. So we're just going with no movement at all, which is not ideal by any means. You know, ideally you don't want that tool dragging, but at the same time, it's not unheard of to do that with metal planing. There are times such as this when that's really the only choice you have. So I think we're going to be fine, but there is no clapper box action going on here at all right now. There's nothing actuating this. Like I said, I got it locked down tight where it can't move, and I think that's what we're just going to have to do in this particular situation. Well, guys, I'm pretty happy with what we got here. Is it perfect? No. Is it good enough for what we're going to be doing? I think absolutely. I may get down here. I had one little place where I got just a little bit of chatter when we were making the full width cut, but it's not that bad. And I'm probably just going to get down there and do some polishing with it. Maybe get down there with some precision stones or something and try to clean it up a little bit. But all in all, that is a nice finish in the bottom. And it's going to be plenty good enough for this crosshead to run on. And just so everybody is clear as to what these are for, this is basically a slideway that this crosshead is going to slide back and forth in. When this steam engine is assembled, there's a crankshaft that's going to go back here in the back. And it's, of course, got a connecting rod that goes from the crankshaft to the crosshead. And as the crankshaft is turning, it's going to push this crosshead in and out. It's going to just slide in these slideways down here in the bottom. And then from here you have the piston rod that actually goes up into the cylinders. On a steam engine, that piston rod has to stay parallel, so they use the crosshead here to basically take that rocking motion of the connecting rod to the linear motion of the piston rod. And it just slides back and forth. Now, this bottom block down here, this is just basically a block of Babbitt that has been cast and poured around this cast iron piece. And yes, this is oversized from what it was originally. That's not a problem. What we're going to do is eventually we're going to melt out this Babbitt. We're going to re-pour this whole crosshead, get it properly aligned at the right height, re-pour the whole thing, and it will be a perfect fit for this particular cross slide over here. And we'll do the same thing on the other side as well. So anyway, I just kind of wanted to show what this is for in case you're not familiar. It's for the crosshead to go back and forth in. And again, I'm pretty happy with the outcome here on this side. I've still got to do the other side completely, and I'm probably just going to do that off camera. This is a pretty detailed task, and it really requires a lot of attention. It's hard to run the camera and get a lot of footage, and it's slow as well. So I'm gonna probably just get that one done. It'll be the same process, but I think we've got at least one side done. If we can pull the other one off, we're gonna be ready to move on. Well, for the first time in a really long time, I can breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief on this project because, like I have said several times, this task down here has been kicking my tail, and I think we got one side done. Still got to get the other one done. It's still got plenty more times and opportunities to kick my tail, but I feel like I'm on the right track, and we're going to be able to get this job done finally and kind of move on with this project. This thing has been a bear. But we're getting there. We're slowly making baby steps. And again, if I can get past this, I think we can really kind of get this project rolling pretty good and hopefully get this thing knocked out pretty soon. Guys, that's a wrap for the day. I'm literally running out of time again. I'm actually headed out of town just as soon as I get, really tomorrow, I'm headed out of town going down to the Florida Flywheelers show. This video will probably post during that event. If it goes as I think. So I'm going to have to finish this thing up when I get back home. And like I think I've already said, I'll probably just do the other side off camera and get it knocked out. But we're going to get this thing knocked out and moved on. So guys, with that, for today, that's a wrap. As always, thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Thumbs up, comments, they really help out a lot. So click that thumbs up button. Leave a comment down below if you like. Really does help out. Big, huge thank you to those who support the site financially through Patreon and PayPal. There's links for that down in the description below. It really enables me to take the time to shoot the videos and bring these things to you and do all the extra work that goes along besides just doing the work here in the shop. And with that, we're going to sign off, get out of here. We'll catch you guys in the next video again. As always, thanks for watching.